Hello, everybody. Today's episode, I thought I would go ahead and take a little bit of time to talk about one of the hottest topics for van dwelling, and that is staying cool, especially during the summer months. And if you live in a state like Florida or out in the desert areas, climates where it's pretty hot, it gets really hot inside a vehicle. Um, Pretty much, as far as I know, almost anywhere, where you're not like, we have summer temperatures of 80 or even 70s on up. The vehicle itself can get extremely hot when you're inside because you're essentially sitting in a tin can that's just absorbing heat all day long. So, for today's episode, I'm going to talk about some tips that I have for staying cool. We're going to start with some really simple stuff. Most of it's common sense. Essentially, what happens is if you leave your vehicle parked out in the sun, it will absorb heat from the sun's rays. So one of the biggest things you can do is actually to try to park under shade. Well, got a little got distracted there. There's a little lizard there puffing out his throat at me. But anyhow, one of the first things that you can do to try to stay cool is try to avoid parking in direct sunlight if possible. Now, if you're out off-grid camping somewhere on BLM land or something like that, that may be more possible and feasible than if you're urban stealth camping. But if you can, try to park under shade. And if you can't park under shade, the next thing you want to do is try to have one of these. These are those foldable sunscreens. They sell them at Walmart or wherever you want to shop, pretty much at the department stores. But you want to put that up over the front windshield, and I would put it with the silver side out so that it reflects the heat back, out of the vehicle as soon as it hits the glass. That will actually make quite a bit of difference from blocking the sun from coming in through the clear glass. The other thing you can do is tint your windows. There is some, legal amount as to how much you can tint it, so you want to check with your local state. Call and check what the regulations are. But if you tint your windows, like in Florida, you can tint the I think you can tint the rear windows as much as you want, but the front and passenger side windows, they have to be a certain percentage. Like, you cannot go too dark because the police want to be able to drive up and see what's inside and not worry about you having a gun, pointed at them and they don't know it. Also, as far as I know, you cannot tint the front window, although you might be able to do the top part of it, the couple inches there, to give yourself a little bit of shade. I don't know if you're allowed to tint your rear window. I guess it depends again by state. So if you tint your windows, that will already reduce the amount of sun coming in. You can also, what I do is, I don't know if you can see this, I have shades and window shades, and I put them all along all the windows, and that will actually bounce the heat back. Instead of just letting it come in and circulate around your vehicle, it'll actually bounce it back towards the window. Now, it does let some of the heat in, but at least it blocks it from just blowing all over the place. So those are some big tips that aren't too hard to do, except for the part maybe about putting up shades, window curtains and things like that. But we'll talk about how I managed to mount them on this vehicle, just to show you how I did it. There's lots of different ways to do it, but the way I did it was just using actual window rods, and then I just screwed, I flattened them out with a hammer and then just screwed them in to the plastic on the vehicle on the inside, and just run it across as if you were running across the real window. The other thing that I can think of that would help you is if you watch the episode where I took the white, was it Cool Coat? It's like a white paint, but it's actually rubberized. So white paint, painting your vehicle like a light color with white, or even just the roof itself, will help a lot immensely. I know that I tried the Cool Seal, and that worked really well. I would recommend it if you're staying in your vehicle any length of time, to make your roof white. And that Cool Seal, which it's on one of the past episodes, on the van build episodes where I painted the vehicle. If I have time and a chance, I'm going to touch it up, so I'll show it again if I can dig up the paint, if I still have it somewhere. But I bought it from Walmart, and it's like I think it's like $20, $25 or less for a 1 gallon can, which I didn't even use up. And as I understand it, you're supposed to try to put 3 coats on. I only put on like 1 or 2 coats. So I'm going to put on 1 or 2 more other coats as I prepare to move back into the van full time. One more thing that you can do that isn't too expensive is to get a water spray bottle. Now this one I got from Dollar Tree for $1. And sadly though, I just found out as I tested it, it only has one mode called stream, not spray. So they have some white ones at Walmart and even at Dollar Tree that are meant for laundry, and I think there's an option on there called spray, so I would recommend getting that one versus this one. The reason I got this one is because it's small and compact, but I like the fact that it had a round tip that's the size of a water bottle, so I can set this inside a water holder, you know, in the console and stuff of the vehicle and use that. And it's also conveniently small, but it shoots, I don't know if you can see water, I just wet myself here. But it shoots a stream at you, and you know what it would do is just wet you down, and you can put regular water in there, which can get hot, or if you're lucky and have some kind of cooling system in your van, which could be as simple as an ice cooler, you know, basically one of those portable ones that you can buy, and you can have ice in there, ice packs, or I'll show you how to get free ice to keep that cool. But you can get water and chill it in there, and if you spray it on yourself, that's going to immediately cool you down. And the fact that you're wet, what will happen is the water will evaporate off you. Like right now, the wind is blowing through me or at me, and it's evaporating, so it's cooling me down really fast. And of course, like I said, if you use cold water in here, that really chills you fast. Now, the key to making this work really well is evaporation. So what you want to do is have your windows open. 2 things happen when you have your windows open and you get cross ventilation. In my van, I actually have the back 2 windows, that side as well as this other side over here. I actually have I'm in a Dodge Grand Caravan, and I have them popped open in the back, so wind blows through that way. But I also have the front windows open, like you know, even when I'm parked, I'll have it cracked open about 1/2 inch or 1 inch to allow circulation for air to flow through, so it doesn't collect hot air. But when I'm sitting around somewhere, I'll typically have the doors open. You know, I'll have the front and the front passenger and the front door open. So like where I'm sitting right now, I'm getting a cross breeze through, so the wind's hitting me, and when I wet myself down with the sprayer here, you know, it wets my skin and the water is able to evaporate, and that cools you down really fast. Another thing that is useful is having like a little fan like this one here. These are 12-volt fans that you can buy pretty much at any department store. I got these at Walmart. I might try to set up a link here if I set up as a Walmart partner. So if you decide to buy this stuff online and order it online, you know, at least get some credit for it and get some money. Because they canceled my Amazon, what's it called, like a partner link thingy, because I didn't really promote it enough, and I don't think I have enough viewers right now actually to even link that, and they'd probably cancel me at Walmart as well. To make money off the affiliate links, you have to have a certain number of sales, and I think I earned a whopping $5.40 from Amazon in referrals. So whoever ordered from Amazon for my links, thank you very much. But $5.40 in like 6 months, and then they dropped me. So, but anyhow, this is a 12-volt fan, or you can get the kind that plug in, you know, that have its own little battery that it can run off. But I actually recommend getting one of these that plug into a cigarette lighter, and because I have set up my house battery system, and by house battery I mean a separate battery system to run power to the fans and the rice cooker and other things like that, and charge my phone inside the van, even with the van off. But this little fan here is a little switch, so I can turn it on, and you can see the fan. I don't know if you saw in the video, it comes on and it blows. So this is already enough to keep you cool. But what I recommend, if you can afford it, try to get at least 2 or 3 of these fans. They cost about $12 to $15 each at Walmart, and they can suddenly die. I had one die last summer, and I was only down to 1 fan, and when it died, I thought I was going to die in the van, because it's like, it got really hot. I mean, it can get like 130 degrees, 140 degrees inside your van. With the windows open and stuff, it'll probably be more like 110. But trying to sleep in that, you could get heat stroke, okay? So these fans, I'm going to turn it off here for now, but they are enough to keep you cool. And I have 3 of them here. So I have one mounted here that can be used up front. It can also be set to rotate. Let me show you that. If you push the little, there's like a little knob in the back here that you can push in and out, or up and down. Yeah, up and down, side to side. You'll see the fan will rotate on its own. So that will actually circulate air. And I actually run anywhere from 1 to all 3 of these at night to keep myself cool. And so far, what I found last summer when I had to sleep in the van, pretty much full time, just running the fans, even 1 or 2, was enough to keep me cool all night. With the back windows open, and also the fronts, I had little gaps open. I didn't really have issues with mosquitoes biting me and stuff, even though we're in Florida, because I guess they spray in the city. But also the back windows have mosquito netting. I put mosquito netting, and I'll show you that later when I do a review or a tour of the van on systems that were already built up, so you can get some ideas on how to try to keep bugs and stuff out. The front windows, I had mosquito netting and stuff that I had made, like little hooded things, but I never really used those. And I found that I could just leave the gap open about 1 inch or ½ an inch at night, and nobody really noticed that they were open, but it allowed air to circulate throughout the vehicle. And I would have these right here, the curtains drawn, and I guess that might deter the mosquitoes from coming to me, but I never woke up with mosquitoes having eaten me all night, even though I'm living in Florida right now in the heat. So running the fans directly at you and having it blow across and circulate the air is another way to stay cool. And off the top of my head, I think those are the primary ways. They're not very expensive, and pretty much anyone can do. The only thing that may be an issue for some of you is hooking up a house battery system so that you can power your fan all night and not wear or draw out the power from your vehicle starter battery, so you don't make it so your vehicle doesn't run. But if you watch the series here, I'm going to break down the existing build to show you how that was built and roughly the cost to do it, and what you can do if you don't have such a system. But fans are definitely recommended, and I recommend getting more than one. These have little clips on them, so they clip and can go anywhere pretty much. And I recommend getting like 2 or 3 of them just to have a redundancy in case one goes out. But having 3, and if you have a decent sized house battery system, you can run all 3, so that's even cooler. Now, as a little bonus treat here, I am going to build a personal air conditioner, ice air conditioner. Some people call these swamp coolers, and it is kind of a swamp cooler, but I think it's more of a personal air cooling system, because unlike traditional swamp coolers, which blow air, hot air, regular air temperature, across water, and when it does that, the water gets into the air, and then as it blows through and continues to travel, the water evaporates. And when the water evaporates, the air that was carrying the water becomes cooler. And I think that's how an evaporative cooler works. So when the air hits you, it cools you down. But in a place like Florida, where it's humid, the air already has water in it. So an evaporative cooler generally doesn't work as well. Now, what we're going to be building here in another episode here, it's sort of an evaporative cooler, but it's more of an ice cooler. And all you're going to do is, the theory is this: if you have ice, okay, which is what people used to use to cool things down, like you can cool a drink down and you can cool air down, all you have to do is just have enough ice in a confined space. And that's how they used to keep things cold in a old-fashioned refrigerator that didn't run off electricity or anything. They would bring chunks of ice and put it inside the refrigerator, and the ice would slowly melt. So you had a isolated refrigerator that slowly melted the ice, or the ice slowly melted inside. Well, what we're going to do is essentially get a small little cooler and cut a hole in it, a small hole about this big or so, that will reduce the size of the airflow, which means air coming through will blow faster, so it'll be stronger than this and more direct than a fan which is spread out. And we're going to take one of these fans and mount it on the top. I had made an episode showing, let this plane pass overhead here for a second. Okay, so I had made another episode showing how to make one of those portable air conditioners, and I'll be doing it again just to show you a new one that I'm making because the old one I tossed out. The cost of it is very minimal. All you're doing is buying the cooler, which is a little round igloo one that I got, mine I got from Walmart, and it was like $8 brand new. So the only cost really, other than tools, is the igloo, which is about $8, and the fan, which is about $15. For under $25, you can make a personal air conditioner, and I'll even show you how to get ice for free. I'll try to edit it into this video, but I typically pick up these. I think these are like 48 ounce. I don't know if it's 48 or 64. I think it's 48 ounce bottled cups, and here I have actually two of them. I picked it up from two different stores, but both were Racetrack. And all you have to do, Racetrack sells cups of ice, any size cup that you want. So I grabbed the biggest and the lid, okay? And it's 25 cents a cup. But every single Racetrack that I've gone to, when I grab one of these cups and fill it with ice, and I put the lid on it, it's a little bit from spilling. I go up to the counter and, I said, I'd like to buy ice. And they say, if that's all you're having, you can have it for free. So you can get free ice from Racetrack. You could probably get it from any of the gas stations, but I know Racetrack gives it to me free, so I go there. And these two I just picked up. I didn't get two of them at the same time. I got one from one Racetrack and I got one from another Racetrack, and both were given to me for free by the cashiers. So thank you, Racetrack. Give them some business for gas. No, they did not pay me for that, but I think that they're very, this is a life-saving system. But you can see the ice is already kind of melted. But this is actually what I use to keep food cold in my mini cooler, which I'll show you in another episode. When I'm living on the road, living in the van, it's a way to get free ice. And, you don't have to steal the ice or anything. Just, you can get the ice from Racetrack. You can get it from any gas station, pretty much 7-Eleven. You can go into fast food restaurants and simply ask them, say, do you mind if I get a cup of ice? And 99.9%, I've never had anyone say no, actually. The workers there will say, sure, no problem, help yourself. I always ask before grabbing it, even though a lot of people apparently just go in there and just take the ice without even asking. But I always ask because I think that you should, at least show some courtesy and ask. And if they say no, then the answer is no, But I've never had anyone say no. They've always given me free ice. And I think having two of these will be enough to keep me going. Basically, even one is enough to keep my cooler cold for the day, usually. So I can keep my cold food, not frozen, but cold, like sandwich stuff, cold cuts and things like that, cold. And the second one, I plan on using to run the personal air conditioner at night. And we'll see how that works, if it's gonna last through the whole night. But we'll be building another episode and testing it. Meanwhile, I can keep one or both of these inside my personal cooler and keep things like bottled water, soda, and maybe a couple little cold cuts and tomato or onion or something like that in there, and a bag of salad, for lettuce and things like that to make sandwiches. So it's a way to have a personal refrigerator. I hope you found these tips helpful. It wasn't too expensive, and pretty much anything that you can do and can make the difference between being able to make it through your van during the summer months in a hot climate to saying, I can't handle this. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, you want to be sure to hit the subscribe button, and also be sure to hit the notify bell icon, because apparently YouTube is not notifying subscribers of new video uploads. So if you want to stay current with what's going on this channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the notification. In the meantime, I hope you're all staying cool. Take care. God bless you all. Please stay safe out there.